Story by Damp Pop. Northern England gave us a second take. To start this off, I want to say I've always considered myself what I call an open-minded skeptic. I'm totally 100% open to the idea that the paranormal exists and that there are things going on beyond our understanding. However, I also absolutely believe that most things have a logical, earthly explanation. The reason I want to stress that is because I've been absolutely racking my brain for a rational way to explain all of this since it happened, and thus far I've come up with absolutely nothing. To set the scene, I'm self-employed as a photographer. The bulk of my income is from weddings, but I also do marketing and publicity stuff for small businesses and events in my local area when it's not the peak wedding season. Last weekend, I had one such event. It was a little further afield than I typically go, to be honest, but it was a really well-paying gig, and it was with a really cool events company who I have worked with a few times, so I took it. It was a bit of a bigger job, so I'll call her Angie for ease of storytelling, along with me. It was early afternoon when we were driving to the event. This was in a very rural area in northern England, so lots of narrow, winding country roads. At one point, just after a notably sharp turn, we passed an area where there had clearly been a car accident some time prior. There were no visible wrecked vehicles or anything, but there were bad skid marks on the road, a massive hole torn through the hedge, and then marks and dents in a field on the other side where it looked like the car had rolled. It looked like somebody had lost control of their vehicle, gone through the hedge, and flipped the car in the field. The area was even taped off as if emergency services had attended the scene. We both commented on how scary it looked and how we hoped nobody had been hurt. Cut to the end of the event, and it's evening time and fully dark. Angie insisted she would drive back as I had driven there. Shortly after setting off, it started absolutely pouring rain, like the makes driving on narrow, winding roads even scarier type of rain. I told Angie we could swap if she wanted, but she said it was fine. A few seconds later, she said she had a bad headache out of nowhere and felt sort of dizzy. I told her I really didn't mind swapping if she wanted to, but she insisted she was fine after pulling over for a moment. A little bit later, we reached that sharp turn by the crash site. As Angie makes the turn, she loses control of the car. We start to spin out towards a hedge, and we both start yelling and freaking out and bracing for impact. Except, impact never happened. At the point we should have hit the hedge, we were suddenly a few miles back on the road, right where we were just before it had started raining. I was, obviously, mad and confused. I asked Angie what she thought had just happened, and she was like, "Oh, thank God it happened for you too. I thought I was losing it." We sort of chalked it up to some weird folie à deux caused by a long day of work. However, the same string of events started playing out. It started pouring rain out of nowhere, and then Angie got a sudden intense headache. This time when I offered to swap, she accepted. When I took the sharp turn, the car didn't veer or spin at all. We were totally fine and made it home alive and in one piece. The craziest part though, when we passed the area where the crash site had been, it was just gone. Hedge was fully intact, no police tape to the scene, no skid marks on the road, no sign of a rolled car in the field. Absolutely no evidence that an accident had occurred at all. I genuinely have nothing to explain this away. Literally seems like the universe showed us a side of our own accident and then gave us a second chance to avoid it. I don't know enough about glitches in the Matrix to know if there's a specific name for this type, but I wanted to share it with you guys who might know a bit more about it and at least appreciate the story. So we all know about quantum immortality now on the channel, but often there are unique twists to different quantum immortality stories, which I still think this is one of them, but to witness your own impending doom or the results of it after the fact, it's kind of a mixture of quantum immortality and premonition. You saw what was going to happen, both of you did, so it does seem like it's an effect on the environment itself, probably from a guardian angel trying to save you, give you a chance to slow down. Someone had an accident here, not necessarily knowing it's you at that point. Then you come back and you're given a second chance, again with quantum immortality. But it just makes me think of, if it is a guardian angel that was trying to save you, why does it matter? If you died and go to a different universe, does it matter? Is it like a game to them? Or if they can save their player from dying even though they go to a different universe, it's like they get bonus points for how long someone lasts in their universe? I don't know if it's a gamified system like that, but it seems like otherwise, why does it matter? You just go to a different universe. So, and I guess for people who say they don't like quantum immortality because it lessens the impact of the universe you're in, I can see it, because yeah, it does. I mean, for death, it definitely takes away from it. It doesn't matter. You can just die and it's all good. I mean, as long as there's a copy of you somewhere, which, unless you're dying of extreme old age, there almost certainly is. So yeah, I don't know. It makes you think a lot, that's for sure. Does life still matter if you have extra lives? To be fair, most people have no idea about quantum immortality, so to them, the lack of knowledge, the problem is knowing about it. We're curious cats, trying to pick apart the universe, the multiverse, and maybe we're not supposed to. Maybe for some people that'll make it feel less, but to me it doesn't, so at least that's good. Welcome, I'm Paul, this is Dave. Today I have 11 Glitch in the Matrix and paranormal stories for you. My favorite one, I think probably the next one coming up, involving water. Let's get to it. Oh, and like the video. Just gotta keep saying it. Apparently it lights up the like button now, which is cool, so like it. Story by Manic Artist. Vita Nostra. Wet. I'm sitting here staring at my ceiling right now, slowly losing my mind with every passing tick of time. It happened 10 minutes ago. What the hell? I was just laying in bed alone in my room, catching up on some reading. Vita Nostra, Harry Potter for adults. I was hitting that reading flow state where words flow into images as seamless as a movie. Then, a single ice-cold drop of water lands right on my lower lip. Like a perfect direct hit, some slipping into my mouth. No odd taste, just water, and of course this pulled me right out of my flow state. My first instinct was obviously, oh great, the roof is leaking, because it was lightly raining outside. I immediately looked up expecting to see a damp spot or another drop hanging there ready to fall, but the ceiling was desert dry, and I got up to touch the ceiling, from my bed, I'm not a giant, and it was as my eyes reported, humidity levels to make an expector orgasm. I'm at the top floor of my house, so there's no bathroom or kitchen or any plumbing at all above me. And also, while the water drop had no taste, it was very cold, almost icy, but it was liquid still. It felt like a single droplet materialized in my room and fell down, but it's not that cold outside. I've heard of people living in ultra-high skyscrapers actually having clouds form inside their condos, but this is a normal house, not Billionaire's Row. I have a strange fascination with water materializing. You have DOP and reappearance all the time, it's cool and all, but I think maybe because it's a liquid, I always wonder, there isn't much difference between solid and liquid. Yeah, the way the molecules are organized and less cohesive and less, tightly bound, but they're still together. If you get to gas where everything is free floating around, that's a different story, but for water, if things can disappear, solid objects, liquids too, I would imagine are possible. So it's probably a droplet from a different universe, but I guess in that universe you do have a leak or something like that. Not inconceivable. The other thing is, what if objects can disappear and reappear within the same universe? That is also a possibility. It doesn't necessarily have to be from a different universe. Maybe matter is still not being created. It's like a Star Trek transporter. Beam me up, water droplet. Story by Murky Bandicoot, 3703. The Mailman Indeed. Most Saturdays, the mailman would drive down our road, drive down our driveway, and put boxes by our door as well as mail in our mailbox. I was hooping outside on my concrete driveway, and I had completely forgotten that it was almost a mailman's time to come. For short context, the driveway trail is to the left of me where the road starts, and I have some cars to the right of me that are parked. My road is rocky, and you can hear cars coming from a mile before they get near the driveway, and you can see them in your peripheral vision when they start approaching. I turned, facing the rim, and I was raising the height back to 10 feet since some wind or something had lowered it a couple centimeters. All I heard were bird chirps, small wind gusts, and regular country sounds. No neighbors, no cars, nothing like that. It took me about 5 seconds to raise the rim, and before, I had put all my attention to it. I hadn't seen any cars or heard any cars driving down the road. As soon as I finished, I turned around to face my house and the door behind me. I didn't turn around because I heard anything. I only turned around to back up and walk to a spot I can shoot the basketball from. As soon as I turned away from the rim, right in front of me was the mailman's car in all its glory. I suddenly heard the engine sound that I didn't hear before when I was raising the rim. I quickly became very shocked because there's simply no way I didn't hear or see it. Even a blind and deaf man would feel its presence. I quickly took the ball and walked to the right behind one of my sister's cars, parked on the driveway, to get out of the mail car's way. The car took up my entire view, so I couldn't see the mail car for about 5 seconds until I walked in front of it again. In the short time that I was behind my sister's car and couldn't see the mail car, I heard no noise. Like as soon as I heard the engine in the first place and got out of its way, I stopped hearing it. I thought this was impossible, or that the car must be turned off completely for some reason, so I slowly set the ball down and walked over. The mail car was completely gone. Not going down my driveway takes at least 15 seconds to do so, and I left the car out of my view for maybe 5 seconds. Probably 4. And it wasn't going down the loud, long, rocky road, which I could see a good portion of. I stood there thinking about what just happened for a minute, and then I heard the loud, crunchy sound of a car driving down the road. It was the mailman's car, again? It drove up to my mailbox at the end of my driveway and then quickly dipped to the next house. There's no way it left my driveway, went all the way down the mile-long road, turned, and came back in 1 minute, and I didn't hear it or see it at all? It was like the world was trying to decide if the mailman should be there or not, and it just panicked? It's Schrodinger's mailman? The equivalent of this is that someone you know, let's just say your mom, isn't home and you are home alone. You hear the bell ring, you open the door, and you see your mom saying, "I'm here." You turn your back and walk away expecting her to close the door behind you when she steps in, but you hear no steps behind you. You turn around only to see that there's nobody there and the door is hanging wide open. You close the door, and 1 minute later, your actual mom rings the bell. Story by Rebirth 542, Katy Perry and Steele. This happened about 12 years ago. I've kept it pretty close to the chest. Outside of my immediate family, I don't really talk about it because I know how freaking crazy it sounds. But I think about it constantly, like every time I'm on the highway, it's in the back of my mind. First off, just to get the logical debunking stuff out of the way, I don't drink, I don't do drugs, and at the time, I wasn't on any kind of prescription meds. I wasn't tired, I wasn't hallucinating, I was 100% sober and alert. CO2 detector at home, too. I was tightly wound and stressed. Still am now, but who isn't? The day started around 6 in the morning. I was heading out on a multi-hour drive to a neighboring state to buy a new car. I was in a great mood, nearly euphoric, and totally wide awake. Had my coffee in the cup holder, snacks ready to go, and I was unironically singing along to my music, vibing like a perfectly sane maniac. Subtle irony that I think the exact song was Wide Awake by Katy Perry, but I will admit I might not be recalling it right. Could be my brain adding sugar and spice and everything nice. Anyways, following this truck, keeping a safe distance. Out of nowhere, the semi started to jackknife right in front of me. Full on, trailer swinging sideways, tires screeching. I'm about to die Final Destination style jackknife. It took up the entire road. I slammed on my brakes so violently I felt the ABS kicking in, tires screaming against the pavement. I braced myself for the impact, hands white-knuckling the steering wheel, waiting for death by steel. That whole life flashing before your eyes thing never kicked in for me, but time did slow down. I don't mean a glitch, my perception. I think it's from the adrenaline. I could think complete thoughts in the time it'd already have been over if it was normal time. I hope that makes sense. The actual glitch is the transition from horror, fear, panic, inevitable death, while staring completely and utterly transfixed at the trailer of this jackknife semi so close I could lick it. And then I was still behind the trailer, driving in a straight line. Nothing going on. Tune playing. And at this point I know it wasn't Katy Perry. So, to coherently recap this, I was thinking behind a truck, something happened to cause it to collapse on itself. I myself going 70 miles per hour or faster, destined to impact it, and it never happened. I've had moments in my life where a scene will play out in my mind's TV screen, but I'm also still aware of actual reality. This is normal, right? This was not that, and I need to be as clear as I can be. This was reality, and it never happened according to my senses. Two conflicting facts. Yet if I had to pick a single glitch type, quantum immortality is my favorite. It has to be because of the effect it has on people. How revelatory it is to the inside of the multiverse itself and how we live our lives. Now, I'm not saying because you can survive to do, completely reckless things, but it just appeals so much to me because I don't want to die. And it's just interesting to read, to ponder on how people feel after the fact of having seemingly died. And, maybe people don't always process it as quantum immortality if they don't know about it. In this case, how do you react to that? You know what you saw. You know it wasn't just a scene in your mind. This was real life. And then it simply reset. It did happen and it didn't. It's a contradiction that is hard to really structure in your brain unless you know the mechanism. And I think even if you know the mechanism, it will be pretty wild, which I think is why most people, or a lot of people, their subconscious blocks out the memory entirely. For them, they're just driving along, and it's almost like a space-time portal event where they're ahead of where they should have been because the memory was erased as a protective measure against their sanity. It's like in Supernatural where, spoilers, if you don't want to hear it, spoilers, when Sam comes back from hell and Death has to isolate the memories of his experience in there because it's centuries of unfathomable, exquisite, creative torture by Lucifer himself. If you remember that kind of stuff, it really eats at you in ways that aren't immediate and apparent. You might just slowly lose your mind as the memory consumes you. Story by Winter Budget 4659. 1 year to the day. Basically, I lost my wallet and my keys exactly 1 year ago today. I remember the day perfectly because it was such a massive pain in the butt. I was at the gym doing chest, and I know for a fact I put my stuff in the locker and locked it. When I came back out after my workout, nothing. The locker was just empty. Thief! Alert the guards! But I did tell the staff, and I even begged them to let me check the other lockers in case I'd accidentally used the wrong one. They only let me check the unlocked ones. I was 100% convinced they were stolen, so I did the whole song and dance of canceling my cards, getting a new driver's license, and paying way too much to replace my car keys. I eventually just chalked it up to a loss and moved on with my life, but I was pissed. Fast forward to a couple days ago, exactly 1 year to the day that I lost them. I got a call from the gym front desk. The guy on the phone was just like, "Hey, we have your ID and some keys here with your name on them." Am I being scammed? I got down there and nope, they really did have my keys and effects, but not the wallet itself. I asked the staff where they found them or who brought them in, and they had zero answers. They just said someone turned them in at the desk and walked away. No fantastic explanation like, "I found this behind the weight rack while checking out the hot blonde and far too revealing yoga pants." Every single thing was returned. My old ID, my library card, and even the cash I had in there for a post-gym snack was still curled up around the ID. If someone had stolen it, why keep it for a full year and then return it with the money still inside? It's just $10 in singles, but still. And if it was just sitting in the gym somewhere, how did we miss it when we searched every square inch of that locker room? And the gym does have cleaners. Not Anatoly, but no helicopters needed for this search. Maybe the weirdest part is getting them back exactly 1 year on the dot, and I did ask the staff. They called me as soon as the items were returned to them, like an hour after. Story by S. Cat Call from 1961. I need to know if anyone else has had something like this happen, or if I've officially entered the Twilight Zone. I do love that classic show, but I don't want to be in it. Last night, I woke up dead in the middle of the night. I'm usually a dedicated side sleeper, but for some reason I was flat on my back, just staring at the ceiling in the dark. I had this sudden itch right near my collarbone. Reached up through my shirt to scratch it. Ooh, that felt good, baby. But next to the itch spot, maybe half an inch to the right, I felt something cold and hard. It was just resting there. In my sleepy fog, it felt exactly like a coin. My brain was too tired to even understand how weird that was, so I didn't even bother turning on a light or sitting up. I just grabbed it, reached over, and set it on my nightstand before falling back into a deep sleep. It's so funny to me how weird things feel normal when you're just out of dreaming, but only just. This morning I woke up thinking it was a weirdly vivid dream, but sure enough I look over at the nightstand and there is a penny just sitting there. I picked it up to inspect it and it's from 1961. Like I said, I almost always sleep on my side. Even if I happened to be on my back when I woke up, I'd have been tossing and turning all night. Was a penny glued to my chest? Statically bound to me? More importantly, I don't carry cash anymore. Honestly, I think it's a mistake for society to be cashless, but not to go down that road. And certainly no coins at all. I hate the metallic smell they leave behind on my fingers. I live alone, had roommates a while back, but we're talking years, and no girlfriend yet. It'd be cool if this was a lucky penny sent to me by the universe. Maybe it's a glass half full or empty situation? How I choose to view this penny is a reflection of my own self, no definite meaning otherwise. Or far better, it really is lucky, let's hope. Story by Creepy Syllabub, 6928. Stumped Crystals. Last night, I went to bed wearing these super thin, comfortable sweatpants, and they have deep pockets made of a kind of mesh. The mesh is completely sewn shut and integrated into the pants, so there's a pocket space and then the mesh space behind it. There is literally no opening between the two. I had a small crystal in my pocket before I fell asleep. Nothing crazy, just something I had on me for the mystical vibes. I'm just a girl. Well, I woke up this morning and reached into my pocket to grab it, and it was gone. But I could see it. Somehow, someway, the crystal had migrated inside the mesh lining. It wasn't just in my pocket anymore. It was trapped behind the mesh layer, bobbing around in a space that is supposed to be completely sealed off. Now I instantly ran my fingers along every seam and I checked for even the tiniest snag or tear where it could have potentially slipped through. None existed. The mesh was perfectly intact. The stitching was as solid as the $80 I paid for these pants should make them. I ended up getting so frustrated that I literally had to cut my own hole in the fabric just to get the crystal back out, and it was painful. I had to perform surgery to save my crystal. How and why would it phase through the fabric? I'm 100% stumped and I don't like it. Unless maybe crystals are as powerful as I'd hoped. I don't have too much to say on this one besides that I like the idea that maybe objects do have powers. Maybe certain objects. I don't know about crystals specifically. I just like the idea of, it's like in a MMORPG where you find something rare, unique, a unique item or trinket, and it has actual magical properties. That's just fun to me. But then the scientific part of me says, well, no, because then you have to be able to explain it, and then if you can't explain it, it's not really magical anymore. So I'm caught between two worlds there where I want magic and I also want it to be explained, but then it's not magic, so I don't know. I don't know what I want. Story by Sudden Click 6881. In the Ring. So I'm sitting on my front porch late at night. I see a car going into the driveway next door and immediately back out and back up on the street. So basically, they were using the driveway next door to orient themselves real quick. But they kept backing up right next to my car on the street. Like, right up to it. And I was like, wait, my husband's car is parked right there now. How'd they do that? Lights turn off car, and lo and behold, it is my spouse's car? I sat more upright because I just checked on him sleeping in our room. So I was like, who took his car? But no one is in the car. The car is dark and like no one is in it. So I immediately pulled up my Ring camera. You can see me sit up to take notice, but then it skips to where I have the phone on my hand and I'm already scrolling for the app. It didn't show me reaching over to it at the end of the couch. It shows no lights, no cars. And unfortunately, my spouse's car is parked right where we have a slight blockage, and it fits exactly in that blockage, so it's hard to see if it was there. But I should have seen the car pull out of the next door driveway and the reverse lights. But again, it shows me sitting up to take notice and then a jump. So I went to recheck the app by getting out and going back in, and it keeps repeating to me sitting up and getting stuck in a loop. I leave the app again and it goes back to how I saw it the first time. That was wild. I was looking straight out onto the street. Now, when the car parked right at first, I did hear his stupid symphony music he plays all the time, and him on a phone call or talking to someone, but that lasted only 5 to 7 seconds as I was puzzling it all out on how he went from bed to parking his car. No one still has gotten out of that car. Story by SD Cookie. I was so happy too. On a cold, dark night, I'm kidding. About a year ago, I decided to finally splurge on a decent pair of gym shoes. I'd heard everyone raving about how comfortable black Skechers are, and since I'd never owned a pair, I figured why not give them a try. I remember the purchase clearly because it was my first time trying on the brand, and I was excited to see if they lived up to the hype. They did, by the way. Super comfy, total game changer. Many months later now, I was doing a massive deep clean of my shoe closet, unloading everything, waterproofing the fabric ones, treating my leather boots, the whole 9 yards. Pulling things out, I'm holding a pair of my black Skechers, and then I look down, and there was another pair of black Skechers sitting right there on the floor. I pulled them both out to inspect them, and I'm telling you, they were literal copies. Even slightly worn soles on both of them, looking like they were roughly the same age and had seen the same amount of pavement strikes. I live with my boyfriend, so I asked him immediately, but they're not his size. I called my mom, not hers. Friends recommended this pair, so I asked them if they'd lost theirs, maybe at my place. Nope. All accounted for on their end. I wasn't exactly going to complain about a free backup pair of my favorite shoes, but holy hell is it weird. I tucked the extra pair into the back of the closet as a spare, and that's it. That was about 9 months ago. Well, today, I went to grab that backup pair, and they're gone. I did not imagine this. My boyfriend and friends both remember me asking them about the extra pair. I still have the text on my phone from months ago, where I'm freaking out to my mom and my friends about these magically duplicating shoes. I have digital proof. It sucks because I was excited to have that extra free pair. These are good shoes, but I think they wear out rather quickly. And also I do use them a lot on my daily walks. Story by Simple Guidance 8213 of Mice and Tinfoil. I'm the guy who looks for the draft when a door slams or the loose floorboard when something creaks. The power of logic. But after today, I think I've officially joined the Tinfoil Hat Club because I just witnessed the impossible. The only cost for membership is one's sanity. I was hanging out on my bunk bed and my cat decided to be a cat. He swiped my computer mouse right off the edge and down it went. As dictated properly by Newton and Einstein. The Earth's mass creates a warping of 4D spacetime, and this results in the force we label as gravity. It fits, it functions, it can be predicted, quantified, and understood. I heard it fall with my own senses too. I heard a distinct thud clack of plastic hitting the floor, and almost certainly the mouse itself being damaged as a result. I love my cat most of the time. Anyway, it was all very straightforward. A vertical drop from the top bunk to the ground. There are no magical portals and no open vents, just a standard hardwood floor. I climbed down maybe 5 seconds later to pick it up, expecting to see it exactly where it landed or perhaps bounced a few feet away. So I looked at the immediate area, a tiny 3-foot radius where it had to be. Let me repeat, where it had to be if reality makes sense, and it wasn't there. Look, I know the formula because while I don't believe it, I still always enjoyed reading about glitches. It's a break from exhausting but safe reality. So now I'm supposed to look under my covers and in my bathroom toilet bowl or something like that? Come on. It bounced on the floor because my cat is a gremlin. It wasn't on the floor. That's it. It's damn crazy. It bounced once because I heard that part, and then it no-clipped through the world render? I'm currently using a backup mouse and staring at that spot on the floor with a mix of confusion and disconcertion. Unfortunately, there's no resolution for me. It's just gone. You approach this exactly like I would, just in my mind. When tennis balls vanish, then you just go, well, I know physics. I mean, pretty well, at least. And that shouldn't be possible, And it doesn't fit neatly into what I already knew. If you're like me, you'll just go down the rabbit hole and try to figure out what the hell's going on. And I don't know if you'll make a YouTube channel about it too, but, you could. Story by iShot300. Witness folded confirmed. I was at our state bowling tournament with my daughter this past weekend. We spent Friday night at a hotel, and I got up Saturday morning and got ready for the first day of competition. As we were packing up, I said to my daughter, I'm going to fold my PJs and tuck them into the corner of the laundry bag so they won't get mixed in with dirty clothes. She said, Good idea, Mom. I folded the PJs, tucked them into the right corner of the laundry bag, which is a 13-gallon kitchen garbage bag, and after they were in the bag, I folded and rolled the garbage back to put into my duffel bag. I could see the PJs inside the bag. The PJ pants are gray and have a coffee and latte pattern all over them. One last sweep of the hotel room, and then we leave. Saturday night, after the first day of competition, we're at the second hotel we're staying at, and I take the laundry and garbage bag out of the duffel. I don't see the PJs. I dumped out all of the clothing inside that bag, and the PJs are just gone. My daughter dumped out her duffel bag as well, just to make sure she didn't have them with her, even though she watched me fold them and put them into the laundry and garbage bag. It's just so weird. Before we even left the hotel on Saturday morning, we really did a sweep of the room, checked the bathroom, put the covers and blankets off the beds to make sure nothing was hiding, and everything we brought with us was packed up. My PJs are just gone. I cannot explain it. I'm now on the hunt for some more cute coffee and latte PJs because they were comfy and again, cute. Now time for the jokes of the day. I asked my daughter, if there's a bee in my hand, what's in my eye? Rolling her eye, she said, I give up. What? Beauty, because beauty is in the eye of the bee holder. I asked my daughter if she knew how to make gold soup. When she replied no, I told her, it's easy. Just put 24 carrots in it. A woman visits her husband in prison. Before leaving, she says to a correction officer, You shouldn't make my husband work so hard. He's exhausted. The officer laughs. Work? Ma'am, he only sleeps, eats, and stays in his cell. The wife replies, That's strange. He told me he'd been digging a tunnel for months. No, she gave him up accidentally. Probably was far along too for months, damn. As a pyromaniac, I've had a lot of trouble finding a girlfriend. I'm still looking for a match. What did the retired pirate say? I'm too old for this ship. Video up here. YouTube thinks you'll like it. Check it out. See you next time.